Today, we begin the full story of Daniel, a faithful servant of God, taken from his homeland, tested in a foreign empire, and upheld by the Lord in every trial. Jerusalem had fallen. The armies of Babylon came against Judah, and King Nebuchadnezzar carried away the vessels from the house of God and brought captives into his land. This did not happen by chance. The scripture says, the Lord gave Judah into the hand of the king of Babylon. Among those taken were young men from the royal family and the nobility, without physical defect, quick to understand, and capable of serving in the king's palace. One of them was Daniel. Daniel was taken far from his home, far from the temple, and far from everything familiar. Yet even in exile, God had not abandoned him. Though Babylon carried him away, the Lord was still directing his steps. The king commanded that these young men be trained for service in the royal court. They were taught the language and literature of the Chaldeans and instructed in the wisdom of Babylon. They were given new names meant to honor foreign gods. Daniel was called Belt. For 3 years, they were trained not only to serve, but to be reshaped. Babylon sought to change their identity, their thinking, and their loyalty. But though Daniel's name was changed, his heart remained faithful to the God of Israel. The king appointed for them a daily portion of food and wine from his own table. It was rich and plentiful, yet defiled according to the law of God. And here, Daniel made a quiet but powerful decision. The Bible says Daniel resolved in his heart that he would not defile himself. He did not rebel with anger. He did not demand special treatment. He chose obedience. Daniel asked the official for permission not to eat the king's food or drink his wine. The official feared for Daniel's life, but the Lord had already gone before him. God gave Daniel favor and compassion in the sight of the overseer. A test was set for 10 days. Daniel and his friends would eat only vegetables and drink only water. At the end of those 10 days, they appeared healthier and stronger than all the others who ate the king's food. And so they were allowed to continue in faithfulness. God honored obedience even in quiet, unseen choices. As their training continued, Scripture tells us that God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom. And to Daniel, God gave understanding in visions and dreams. This wisdom did not come from Babylon. It did not come from idols or human power. It came from the Lord. When the time came to stand before King Nebuchadnezzar, Daniel and his companions were examined. Among all the young men, none were found like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, in every matter of wisdom and understanding. The king found them 10 times better than all the magicians and enchanters in his kingdom. Daniel stood in a foreign court, under a pagan king, in a land of idols. Yet he belonged to the God of heaven, and the Lord was preparing him for what was yet to come. King Nebuchadnezzar lay down one night, and God troubled his spirit with a dream. It was not an ordinary dream. It was so powerful, so heavy, that the king awoke, shaken, yet the dream slipped from his memory. He knew it mattered, but he could not recall it. The king summoned the magicians, enchanters, sorcerers, and astrologers of Babylon. He demanded that they tell him both the dream and its meaning. If they could not, they would be destroyed. They answered, "Tell your servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation." But the king replied that no man on earth could do such a thing, and he was right. What he asked was impossible for men. In anger, the king ordered that all the wise men of Babylon be put to death. And that decree included Daniel. When Daniel heard of it, he did not panic. He went to the king's captain and asked for time. Then Daniel went to his house and told his friends to seek mercy from the God of heaven. That night, God answered. The mystery was revealed to Daniel in a vision. And Daniel blessed the Lord, saying that wisdom and power belong to him, that he removes kings and sets up kings, and that he reveals deep and hidden things. Daniel was brought before Nebuchadnezzar. He said, "No wise man can show the king this mystery, but there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries." Then Daniel told the dream. The king had seen a great statue, terrifying in appearance. Its head was made of pure gold. Its chest and arms were silver. Its belly and thighs were bronze. Its legs were iron. Its feet were partly iron and partly clay. As the king watched, a stone was cut out, not by human hands, and it struck the statue on its feet. The entire statue shattered, becoming like chaff blown away by the wind. But the stone became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. Daniel then gave the interpretation. The golden head was Nebuchadnezzar himself, the king of kings, whom God had given power and glory. After him would come other kingdoms, weaker than the first, yet ruling the earth. And in the days of those kings, the God of heaven would set up a kingdom that would never be destroyed. That kingdom would not be left to another people. It would crush all other kingdoms and stand forever. Nebuchadnezzar fell on his face before Daniel. He confessed that Daniel's God was truly the Lord of kings and a revealer of mysteries. The king promoted Daniel, giving him high authority and many gifts. Daniel was made ruler over the whole province of Babylon and chief over all the wise men. And Daniel requested that his friends be appointed to positions of leadership as well. Peace followed, but pride soon grew. King Nebuchadnezzar made a golden statue, massive and shining, and set it up on the plain of Dura. He commanded all peoples, nations, and languages to bow down and worship it at the sound of music. Whoever did not fall down would be thrown into a blazing furnace of fire. The decree went out across the empire. The music played, the crowd bowed. But not everyone. 3 men remained standing, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and the test of faith was about to burn hotter than ever. The king's decree had gone out to all the provinces of Babylon. At the sound of music, every person was commanded to fall down and worship the golden image King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. The music played, the crowd bowed, but 3 men remained standing. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, would not bow to an image made by human hands. Some of the Chaldeans noticed and rushed to the king. They accused the 3 men, saying they did not serve the king's gods nor worship the golden statue he had set up. Nebuchadnezzar was furious. He summoned them and gave them one last chance. He said, "When you hear the sound of the music, fall down and worship the image. But if you do not, you will be thrown immediately into the blazing furnace. And who is the God who will deliver you out of my hands?" The 3 men answered with calm faith. They said that their God was able to deliver them from the fiery furnace, and he would deliver them out of the king's hand. But even if he did not, they would not serve the king's gods or worship the golden image. At this, Nebuchadnezzar's rage was complete. His face was changed with fury. He ordered the furnace heated 7 times hotter than usual. The strongest soldiers bound Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in their garments and threw them into the blazing furnace. The fire was so fierce that it killed the men who carried them. But something happened inside the flames. King Nebuchadnezzar rose in haste. He was astonished. He said to his counselors, "Did we not cast 3 men bound into the fire?" They answered, "Yes, O king." He replied, "I see 4 men unbound, walking in the fire, and they are not hurt. And the appearance of the 4th is like a son of the gods. The fire did not consume them. The flames did not touch them. Not even the smell of smoke was on their clothes." Nebuchadnezzar came near the furnace and called out for them to come forth. And they came out, untouched by the fire. The king then blessed the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, declaring that there was no other God who could deliver in this way. He promoted them in the province of Babylon. Yet the lesson was not finished. Sometime later, Nebuchadnezzar had another dream, a great tree that reached to the heavens, providing shelter and food for all. In the dream, a watcher from heaven commanded that the tree be cut down, leaving only the stump bound with iron and bronze. Daniel was called to interpret the dream. He told the king the truth, that the tree represented Nebuchadnezzar himself. Because of his pride, the kingdom would be taken from him. He would be driven away from men and live like an animal until he acknowledged that the Most High rules the kingdom of men and gives it to whom he will. 12 months later, as the king walked on the roof of his palace, he boasted of his power and glory. And immediately, the word was fulfilled. Nebuchadnezzar was driven from among men. His reason left him. He ate grass like an ox, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, until his hair grew long like eagle's feathers and his nails like bird's claws. At the end of the days, Nebuchadnezzar lifted his eyes to heaven, and his understanding returned. He blessed the Most High, praised and honored him who lives forever, whose dominion is everlasting and whose kingdom endures from generation to generation. His kingdom was restored to him, and his glory returned. And Nebuchadnezzar learned what every king must learn, that the Most High God is able to humble those who walk in pride. Many years had passed, and Babylon was still strong in the eyes of men, but its end was near. King Belshazzar, son of Nebuchadnezzar, held a great feast for 1,000 of his lords. As the wine flowed, pride filled the room. In his arrogance, the king ordered that the gold and silver vessels taken from the house of God in Jerusalem be brought in. They drank from them. They praised gods of gold and silver, bronze and iron, wood and stone. And then, in the midst of the celebration, something terrifying happened. The fingers of a human hand appeared and wrote on the plaster of the wall, opposite the lampstand. The king watched the hand as it wrote. His face grew pale. His knees knocked together. His strength failed him. Belshazzar cried out for the wise men of Babylon to be brought in, promising rewards to anyone who could read the writing and tell its meaning. But none of them could understand it. Then the queen spoke. She told the king of a man in his kingdom who had the spirit of the holy God, a man named Daniel, known for wisdom and understanding, just as in the days of Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel was brought before the king. Belshazzar offered him gifts and honor, but Daniel refused the rewards. He reminded the king of how God had given Nebuchadnezzar power and glory, and how God had humbled him because of his pride. Daniel said that Belshazzar knew all this, yet still lifted himself up against the Lord of heaven. Then Daniel read the writing. Mene, mene, tekel, uparasin. Daniel explained the meaning. Meaning God has numbered your kingdom and brought it to an end. Tekel, you have been weighed in the balances and found wanting. Pairs, your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. That very night, Belshazzar was killed, and Babylon fell. The Medes and Persians took the city, just as God had spoken. Darius, the Mede, received the kingdom. Under Darius, Daniel was appointed as one of 3 high officials over the kingdom. Because of his faithfulness and wisdom, the king planned to set Daniel over the entire realm. This stirred jealousy among the other officials. They searched for fault in Daniel, but they could find none. He was trustworthy, and no corruption or negligence was found in him. So they said, "We shall find no ground for complaint unless it concerns the law of his God." And so they plotted. They persuaded King Darius to sign a decree that for 30 days, no one could pray to any god or man except the king. Anyone who disobeyed would be thrown into the lion's den. When Daniel learned the decree was signed, he did not hide. He went to his house, opened his windows toward Jerusalem, and prayed just as he had always done. And the enemies of Daniel were watching. They found him praying and brought him before the king. Darius was distressed. He tried all day to rescue Daniel, but the law could not be changed. At sunset, Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, and the night fell silent. But God was not finished. The stone was brought and placed over the mouth of the lion's den, and King Darius sealed it with his own signet and the signet of his nobles, so that nothing could be changed concerning Daniel. The king spoke to Daniel before he was lowered into the pit. He said, "May your God, whom you serve continually, deliver you." That night, King Darius returned to his palace. He refused food. No music was brought before him. Sleep fled from him, for his heart was troubled. At the first light of dawn, the king rose and hurried to the lion's den. With a voice full of fear and hope, he cried out, "O Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to deliver you from the lions?" From the darkness came a calm reply, "O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths, and they have not harmed me, because I was found blameless before him, and also before you, O king. I have done no wrong." King Darius was filled with joy. He ordered Daniel to be lifted out of the den, and when Daniel was brought up, no wound was found on him, because he had trusted in his God. Then the king commanded that the men who had maliciously accused Daniel be brought and thrown into the lion's den, along with their families. Before they reached the bottom, the lions overpowered them and crushed all their bones. King Darius then wrote to all peoples, nations, and languages who lived in all the earth. He declared that in all his royal dominion, men were to tremble in fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, enduring forever. His kingdom shall never be destroyed. His dominion shall have no end. He delivers and rescues. He works signs and wonders in heaven and on earth. He has delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. So Daniel prospered during the reign of Darius and the reign of Cyrus the Persian. Once again, God had honored his faithful servant. Daniel was not spared because of power or position, but because of trust. He prayed as he always had. He obeyed as he always had. And the Lord, who rules over kings and beasts alike, proved that he alone is sovereign. Daniel stood once more, not as a victim of envy, but as a witness to the living God. And the story of Daniel continued, guided by the hand of the Lord. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel was given visions in the night. These were not dreams of comfort, but revelations of what was to come, shown by the God of heaven. Daniel saw the 4 winds of heaven stirring up the great sea, and from the sea rose 4 great beasts, each different from the others. The first was like a lion, and it had eagle's wings. As Daniel watched, its wings were torn off, and it was lifted from the ground and made to stand on 2 feet like a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Then another beast appeared, a second one, like a bear. It was raised up on one side, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth. It was told, "Arise, devour much flesh." After that, Daniel saw a third beast, like a leopard, with 4 wings on its back and 4 heads. Dominion was given to it. Then came a 4th beast, terrifying and dreadful, exceedingly strong. It had great iron teeth. It devoured and broke in pieces and trampled what was left. It was different from all the beasts before it and had 10 horns. As Daniel considered the horns, another horn appeared, a little horn, before which 3 of the first horns were plucked up by the roots. This horn had eyes like the eyes of a man and a mouth speaking great things. As Daniel watched, thrones were placed, and the Ancient of Days took his seat. His clothing was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was flames of fire, with wheels of burning fire. A river of fire flowed out from before him. Thousands upon thousands served him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The court sat in judgment, and the books were opened. The beast was slain, and its body destroyed. The dominion of the other beasts was taken away, though their lives were prolonged for a time. Then Daniel saw one like a son of man coming with the clouds of heaven. He approached the Ancient of Days and was given dominion, glory, and a kingdom that all peoples, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is everlasting and will not pass away. These visions troubled Daniel deeply. His color changed, and his strength left him. Yet he kept the matter in his heart. Later, in the 3rd year of King Belshazzar, Daniel received another vision. He saw himself in the citadel of Susa. Before him stood a ram with 2 horns, one higher than the other. The ram charged westward, northward, and southward, and no beast could stand before it. As Daniel watched, a male goat came from the west, crossing the earth without touching the ground. The goat had a notable horn between its eyes. It rushed at the ram in furious power, struck it, and shattered its 2 horns. The ram had no power to stand against it. The goat became exceedingly great, but when it was strong, its great horn was broken. In its place came 4 notable horns, pointing toward the 4 winds of heaven. Daniel sought to understand the vision, and an angel was sent to explain it. The ram with 2 horns represented the kings of Media and Persia. The goat represented the king of Greece. The great horn was its first king, and the 4 horns were 4 kingdoms that would arise after him. Daniel was overwhelmed. He was sick for days, but he rose and went about the king's business, astonished at the vision, for it pointed to events yet to come. In the 1st year of Darius, Daniel understood from the scriptures that the desolation of Jerusalem would last 70 years. The word of the Lord, spoken through Jeremiah, was being fulfilled. So Daniel turned his face to God. He fasted. He wore sackcloth and ashes, and he prayed. Daniel confessed the sins of Israel, not only the sins of the people, but his own. He acknowledged that God was righteous in all he had done, and that Israel's suffering was the result of rebellion against God's law. He pleaded for mercy. He asked that God would turn his anger away from Jerusalem, restore his city, and cause his face to shine upon his sanctuary, not because Israel deserved it, but for the sake of the Lord's great name. While Daniel was still praying, the answer came. The angel Gabriel was sent swiftly from heaven. He told Daniel that from the moment he began to pray, the command went out, and he had come to give understanding. Gabriel revealed the vision of the 70 weeks. 77s were decreed for Daniel's as people in the holy city, to finish transgression, put an end to sin, atone for iniquity, and bring in everlasting righteousness. From the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem, time would unfold according to God's plan. An anointed one would come. He would be cut off, not for himself. Jerusalem would face destruction again. Yet God's purposes would stand. Daniel heard these things, knowing they pointed far beyond his own lifetime. Later, Daniel fasted again for 3 weeks, seeking understanding. When the answer finally came, it was not delayed by God, but by war. A glorious angel appeared before Daniel, his appearance like lightning, his eyes like flaming torches, his voice like a multitude. Daniel fell to the ground in weakness. The angel told him that from the first day Daniel prayed, his words were heard, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia had withstood him. And Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help. Daniel was shown that unseen battles were being fought not between nations only, but in the heavenly realm. Kingdoms rose and fell, not merely by human strength, but under divine authority. The angel revealed what was written in the book of truth: future conflicts between kingdoms, wars, alliances, betrayals, and oppression. Kings would arise in pride. Many would suffer. Yet God remained in control. Daniel saw visions of a final ruler who would exalt himself above all gods. He would prosper for a time, but his end was certain. At the end of the visions, Daniel heard these words, that many who sleep in the dust of the earth would awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and contempt. The righteous would shine like the brightness of the heavens. Daniel was told to seal the words until the time of the end. He was not given every answer, but he was given peace. The Lord said that Daniel would rest, and then rise to receive his allotted inheritance at the end of the days. And so the story of Daniel closes not with exile, not with fear, but with hope. For the God who revealed mysteries, humbled kings, shut lions' mouths, and rules over all kingdoms is faithful to the end.